How's it going, everyone? My name is Paul. Welcome to the channel. So I need somewhere to put my clamps. It's not just on the floor or wherever they happen to end up. So I actually drew up some plans. I actually drew them on this board. I had some extra, whatever this stuff's called. It's not, maybe it's, I don't know, whatever it's called, some sort of plywood stuff. So I actually drew up plans this time and everything, and it's going to work the first time. So let's get into it, I guess. Yeah, that's how we're gonna start this one. Let's get into it. The first piece that I'm cutting out here is the back piece. I don't remember the order that I cut out anything else, because what happened was I cut everything out and then it got super duper cold. And I didn't want to do anything in my garage for about a week and a half or 2 weeks. And, you know, I probably should have worked on the video, but instead I just sat around and played video games in my free time. So I don't remember what any of these are, if they're the sides or the top or the this or that. Anyways, it's all just made out of leftover particle board that I have from when I made my workbench. As you can see, it matches. It's just been sitting here for quite a while. I said eventually I'll make something with this, and here I am eventually making something with it. And what happened was I thought I had cut everything out nice and perfectly and all that, and then I went to assemble the workbench and I hadn't, so I had to go out and buy a whole new sheet of this stuff just to get one piece out of it. So I had quite a bit left, and here I am finally getting a little bit of use out of it. Eventually I'll probably rebuild this whole thing out of like better material. This is pretty cheap particle board and it's awfully heavy. Not too heavy for what I'm doing with it, but it is heavier than I would probably like. And it doesn't look all that great. So anyways, like I said, I'm building a clamp storage thing. You know, if you Google clamp storage plans or something and then look at the images, you'll get an idea, kind of. I have Jorgensen brand clamps, I think is what they're called. They're orange, they're from Lowe's, just like a standard bar clamp. So they're it's kind of made for that. The thing with those is that they all have the same head size and stuff. Even, I think they go down to like 6 inches or something. So that has the same head as the 36 inch, which is what I have, and I think they even have maybe a 48 inch. But anyways, it's all the same head size, so it really just depends on how high up on my wall I set it or hang it, is dependent on how big of a clamp I can put on there. So this brings up an idea that I want to do, is make this miter station a little better, and I want to make a stop block system, because at the end of all of this, you know, trying to cut out 8 identical pieces, it just didn't quite work out. There's a little bit of variance, so it would have been nice to have like a stop block system, would have made them that better. And then another thing is I don't quite think the fence on this is quite square on the left side, so that leads to a little bit of variance as well. Here I am drilling out all of the holes, pre-drill all my holes for the screws for this. I will spend the $10 and invest in a drill guide next time I go to the hardware store. I noticed as I was drilling this, you know, I want the screws to go in straight, you know, so that they don't poke out of the other material that I'm drilling into or screwing into. So a lot of times I'm kind of wiggling the drill back and forth or something. You know, you can kind of see, even when I'm wiggling it back and forth to try to get it straight, but even when I think it's straight, it's probably not straight. So I'll just spend the $10 or whatever to get a nice straight, you know, 90-degree drill hole in there every time. I don't think I need a drill press for what I'm doing. And maybe investing in some new drill bits too. They're very old and I didn't take care of them for years because I didn't care about things, because at the time I was still drinking. I think I've had these drill bits for, golly, 10 years, 12 years, no, 10 years, something like that. Yeah, and they've been neglected, so maybe getting a new set of drill bits would be pretty nice. Here I am putting the things in, all those 8 pieces that I cut out earlier. So one thing here is busting out the impact for the first time ever was a real game changer for this. So then I could, without having to switch drill bit from the drill bit to the driver bit or whatever, I just set down the drill and picked up the impact and then impacted those screws right in there. I did have one problem with that later on. Maybe I'll zoom in on it later, but here I am just hitting those holes again, but trying to get it into that the newer, or the secondary material to get a nice pre-drilled hole in there. So yeah, it would just be super duper nice to have a nice drill guide. Oh, and then I had a problem here is I pre-drilled that hole without realizing, because it was somewhere else when I pre-drilled it, that it would have ran right into a different screw. So then I drilled another hole and I didn't like it because it was too close to the edge and I thought it would split for sure. So then I drilled a third hole, but I think that's the top, so pretty sure. Or maybe that's the side and you never see it. Oh yeah, that's definitely the side. I'm looking at it right now. So maybe you do see it, but again, I'll probably rebuild it. So here I am, finally hanging it on the wall with the flag of the greatest country in the world in the background. Maybe I'll zoom in. You can see there that little split there. That's kind of where one of those screws was not going in straight. It was going a little to the right there and kind of ended up poking out. Maybe not poking out necessarily, I can't quite remember, but enough to split it. So again, I'll probably rebuild all this stuff eventually. And yeah. Another problem here that I ran into is I had already put the screws in there so that I could put it on the stud and all that without having to, whatever. I thought I was all prepared, but I wasn't. I didn't have my level. Luckily, it was within reach, so just after, twisting awkwardly and stuff, maneuvering in a strange way, I was able to reach it and make sure that it was level, so don't worry about that. There's 4 screws in there in the studs, so I'm not worried about 24 clamps and whatever else I put on there on that shelf and all that, or on the top. It'll be able to hold it, not a problem at all. So here you can see the clamp, the orange clamp going on there. I have 6 altogether, so I think whatever, doesn't matter too much how many I have. I will be adding more to it eventually. All you need to do is just kind of adjust that down and they all fit on there. I think I put a couple of the bigger ones on the outside and then a couple of the smaller ones on the inside for some symmetry. Make things look nice, but they just slide right in there. Each one of those will hold 6. So 6 times 4 is 24 clamps. You can see how you can just make it wider if you want. Add, another set on each side, so that you can get, what would that be, 32 clamps, or whatever. You could just do it on one side and just have it awkwardly, or, have them all face the same way and do 5 sets, and, there you go. So here I am, trying to pose awkwardly for a thumbnail. Eventually I got it, so. Hey, if you like the video, let me know by leaving a like. You can let your friends know by sharing with them and doing all that, So I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun building this, and I'm going to build some more stuff in the future. So we'll catch you on the next one, folks.